Alright folks, it's actually not 0 to 7, believe it or not. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button there. It is simply 3 to 3 in the best of 7 team clan war show match, whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's mYi versus yoeFW. It has been a great series leading up to this point. Spawning here though in the bottom left corner of the map, he's left his base pretty darn quick. It's going to be the mYi player, Rain.
Never writes as the green Zerg player. It's yoeFW's Leenock.
And before we get too far into this, big shout out to I am Jax High with a $10 donation. Says, longtime pleb with ad block, paying my dues. Stay awesome. I guess, thank you. Thank you. But so this is kind of cool. It's the rematch, and a lot of you might not know how this works, but it's blind pick. Neither team revealed to the other who was being picked for this. Zombie Grub got whispered yoeFW's player. I got whispered mYi's player, and it's just total coincidence it ends up being the rematch. And I think it's really cool because we really didn't get a match out of these guys in the first one. Rain just 7-gated really hard, and it was over before it began.
Yes. Yes, he did. Looks like he might be trying to end it early here, too. I don't know how much he'll really dedicate to this. Not with the Leenock going for the drone scout.
I haven't really seen Leenock get punished by cannon rushes in a long time. He's pretty quick, pretty quick to pull drones, as we see. But that's not to say it'll stop Rain. I do like the patrol on the drones, though.
Really quite surprised.
You know, even this is kind of worth it, though. This is a lot of income lost for Leenock.
You know what?
I mean,
that is true. That is true. I was just thinking he's not blocking anything out, but it looks like Leenock has realized what the gig is.
You guys can see exactly where the drone pull happened here on the income chart, too. I mean, Rain is just really far ahead. But, okay, so there was no cancel, but he does indirect damage of Leenock basically not getting 400 minerals over the time it takes to kill that pylon. So, that money versus the 100 minerals he spends is kind of worth it.
Yeah. I'd say so. Also gets a scout in there, sees that gas is not taken, and will be expecting a third base shortly. And I even put the probe over there if he really wants to check, although the link should just go over there and, well, be checking for the cannon rush, of course.
So there's a lot of ways this plays out from this point on, and I think one of the key things we need to talk about, we always address, is the fact that these third bases on the map are a little bit fickle and a little bit funny. I actually really like that Rain is checking for the gold base, seeing if Leenock decides to take this quickly or not, but with the cross spawns like this, definitely, again, with a lot of open areas to engage on, whether Leenock wants to play Zerglings or not, Leenock will probably play Zerglings. Maybe some Roaches if he can, but Mutalisks are a really nice option to have on this map, too.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely true. Leenock, you know, was at one point, I think, known for his Mutalisk, as well as his Baneling drops. And burrowed Banelings. He did it for a lot of things, actually, okay? But Mutas were definitely, you know, a pretty strong suit just at once upon a time in the matchup in general. Most people do transition into, I would say, Swarm Host nowadays. You know, Roach, Hydra, Viper, and a Swarm Host. But Mutas have making a little bit of a comeback, and I'd certainly find them enjoyable, more enjoyable, anyways, than in Swarm Host play. The Lings, they could sacrifice themselves to see the Stargate, but not so far.
Well, it's kind of a cool move out of Leenock to actually go for that gold base. The part of the big reason why this is a threat, Rain can just park like 4 stalkers on high ground and really just deny mining without dealing damage to the hatchery. This is going to have the Stargate for support behind this. There's the potential of Phoenix. I imagine an Oracle. We'll see if Phoenix actually come out at some point, though, because I would love for him to force Leenock to play something like Roach Hydra on a big map like this, where you're not going to be able to use mobility. You're not going to be able to take super advantage of the cross spawns, but it is going to be an Oracle to start.
Okay. Again, Leenock did not scout this, and he doesn't have an Overlord in position to do so. In fact, only one Overlord off to the natural. It'll see that the gas has been taken and that a Robo is placed down, and that's probably enough, to be honest. Although, I guess it's not enough for him to just kind of blindly guess, like, what other building was put down before that. Like, timing would be pretty hard to identify, you know, to the point. Did that Link see it? Oh my god, no it didn't. And Rain even dodged it. Alright.
I took the extra precautions. The Void Ray follow-up's kind of cute. It's going to be nice for cleaning up Overlords and that paranoia of the Roach attack, but we'll see how much this Oracle can get done. There's Spore Crawlers down in every mineral line. There's Queens out. It's going to be so limited on what it can do.
Maybe he did see it. Or maybe Leenock has determined that's what the build was. But it's also be followed up with a Void Ray and a Warp Prism.
Yeah, the Warp Prism actually intrigues me a lot more than the Void Ray. You know, the Void Ray, okay, defensive. Void Ray clears up Overlord's cool, but it's the Warp Prism that's going to really maybe catch Leenock off guard here.
I think so. I mean, early Warp Prisms were always cool in my opinion. I guess when they're not being heavily abused, that is. And we might see him abuse it with the sentries and those force fields. And, well, that might happen, but...
Well, the other thing, too, is if you clear up all the Overlords, it's a free path for that Warp Prism.
Oh, well, that's what the Warp Prism was for.
Okay, well, that's kind of cool to see. This is really interesting because the dynamic of there being no Mutalisk means there's not really that big of a threat to the base.
Yet. So Mutalisk, yet.
Yet. Okay, fair enough, fair ugh. But this is really interesting. I like this.
I don't know.
Rain's like the third person we've seen take an island base.
Right? Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. This is last time we saw this, it didn't really go all that poorly at first, but then it quickly did. You actually think the Protoss ended up losing that game, but looks like Leenock is or was prepared to go into a meter transition.
Oh.
And having not spent a lot of money, but it's actually an infestation pit. So Rain thinks mutas because Leenock saw the hidden expansion, goes for his own 3 Stargates, but what if it's not mutas?
I think this might not be in anticipation of mutas. This might not be for Phoenix production. He might just do that one build where you go like 19 Void Rays and just laugh as everything dies.
That's possible. I guess that's what's nice about having Stargates, that you can go into that mass Void Ray style. But there is a reason why it isn't used that much anymore. Basically, it kind of comes down to like a TVZ, like with Mac, right? Like one fumble could ruin your day.
It's so cute. I've always wanted to do this. Follow the mothership on the recall. Okay, it does actually follow it over. That's cool. So that's the sickest way to transfer probes over, ladies and gentlemen. You've now learned. But
yes.
It is triple Void Rays. Oh, but what's up with this wall? Okay, it's not really defended. This is really cool though, because the third base in any other situation would have been easily open to harass from Lings, easily open to harass from Roaches. But by going for this island base, he's secure for a time, and that's what allows him to get the safety of these Void Rays. Normally you'd have to, if you took this base up here and you want to do this build, you'd have to invest in like 7 cannons, gateways, sentries, blah blah blah. But this is really cool. And what's really, I'd say, frustrating about this for Leenock, or what he might experience, is a lot of folks, they see Hydralisk as the counter to Void Rays. And to a degree, that can be correct. But if you have enough Void Rays, I think, can beat just about anything in the game if force fielded off and supported correctly.
Well, here's what's really nice about what Leenock is doing. I feel like there's like mind games on top of mind games here. But basically, we have Void Rays against Hydra Viper. That's where everything has led up to. And Hydra Viper is very effective against Void Rays. Oh, is Rain gonna do like an Arthur? Is he gonna try and snipe that hive?
I think he is, and he might just be able to pull it off because
he's gonna be scouted. There's an Overlord in position.
But here's the thing: like, what do? You split some Hydras to go to the main. You leave some at the third because you're not sure which base they're gonna hit, and then if there's too few Hydras, the Void Rays actually annihilate them.
That's true. How many Hydras does he have? He has 18 Hydras, and even split probably would do okay.
6
throwing a couple of queens there.
Yeah, there's a Warp Prism too. I completely forgot he had parked this over here. So some Zealot support as well wouldn't be too bad. Zealots or Sentries, either way, just something to soak up and work against the Hydras. However, not focusing on the Warp Prism right away. Okay,
why bother? He's got 3 Zealots too.
Oh, watch out for those abducts though. Oh, that recall! What
even happens?
What?
I don't even know.
Recall, dude. Recall beats out abduct. Apparently, I did not know this until just now.
Neither did I. Well, we see like mothership recalls after being pulled all the time, but not while being pulled.
Yeah, it like canceled it out, juked and jived. It was like a blink going off. But what I like is behind this, look what Rain's done. He's got the area of effect he's going to need. I thought it was going to be force field heavy to deal with the Hydras, but instead he goes for storms. This is a great secondary follow-up as well.
Well, I think it might have been if you didn't know that Vipers were also out. With Vipers, you're going to need the feedback.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, like these High Templars are absolutely crucial to doing well, as well as charge and a couple of upgrades. Again, those Zealots do well, usually accompanied with force fields. Even without force fields, Hydras are slow. They always will be, so they usually get some connections.
Storm damage is redonkulous as well, as we see. The Storm actually does exactly as much damage as the Hydralisk has health, but sometimes that Zerg regeneration takes once and that's all you need. However, as you pointed out, feedbacks to stop the Vipers is going to be key here, because the Hydras are going to get funneled out by the buildings, and the Void Rays will always take proper engagements because of this. Splitting the Hydras, like, immediately, though.
The only thing that would make this a little bit better would be those fungals that I talked about earlier. One, fungals, when the Void Rays move out of position, they clump, they kind of drag as well when they're getting unclumped, would do wonders. But here's the other problem with how Rain has played this game, because he went for this third base. I mean, third base is fine, it's dandy, and that's great that you're on 3 bases to Protoss, but your composition, it's pretty defensive, right? Like, you don't want to move out until you have his absolutely perfect composition. And as such, Leenock has a bank. He's going to get a lot of bases. He's already teched up and has really good upgrades.
Furthermore, the fungal growth will stop the charge lots dead in their tracks as well, which are... Yeah. He was waiting on a charge, that's why he wasn't engaging before, but now charge is done, he can actually just start running in, but trying to bait back to the cannons, loses a couple Void Rays to those Vipers. Meanwhile, big warping on the other side of the map. Gonna take out this extra base here from Leenock.
I mean, Rain needs to do stuff like this. Otherwise, it looks like he's going to get just like a... Well, he's going to be denied a 4th base for so long that he's going to lose out in that way.
Here's my question for you. With the way this is developed, would this have been worth investing in, say, a 4th on the other island base on the side of the map? I mean...
Yeah, right.
I'm making jokes right now, but there's no mutas, there's no Nidustorm. What have you even been able to deal with it? In fact, has Leenock even scouted?
There's a possibility of mutas.
Guess,
and there's a very heavy possibility that Overlords are still around the map, too. Like, isn't now, but how is Rain supposed to know that?
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's one of those cool things that could have maybe happened. It was the ballsiest thing ever. But Transfusion's keeping the Queens alive here in the main, not too bad. Spineclaw's going to finish up. These Zealots don't have +3 weapon upgrades, so they're not exactly chewing through everything like we sometimes classically see. However, we do have run by set up around the map. We got the War Prism still coming in. I'm loving the spines out of Leenock, though. He was ready for this. Leenock with all his tentacles and all that jazz.
Yeah. Well, behind, Rain did go for this odd, old, I should say, odd composition. He's getting back to what we usually see. Colossus, Blink, upgrades, in fact got double Forge to make up for losing that Forge earlier. And good thing, too, because just High Templar did not do well against Locusts.
No, he's lacking on the upgrades. His level 2 is still not done, but I mean, it's not by a devastating amount. I'd say you can still manage this, but he's actually done a great amount of damage behind this. He's knocked down not 1, but 2 very important bases for Leenock. Leenock set back to 3, but almost more like 2, because he did take this gold base earlier. That's the adrenaline starting to wear off. As the base mines out, he doesn't really have that accelerated income anymore. And I really think this push could be quite dangerous. I'm loving the way this worked out. Sadly, Rain doesn't have as many Void Rays as he did earlier, but 6 is still a lot of freaking damage.
He's getting up to that perfect composition. Everyone says, like, I guess everyone expects Tempest towards the late game, and certainly that might happen, but this composition right here is so scary, even still.
The only thing that could make this even better is if his mothership core was a mothership, I have to say, but even then, it's not as big of a deal. Leenock's got this massive bank behind us, though. It was cool ducks. This crazy, insane bank behind us, nice as Colossus walks away, so for Leenock's sake, you can lose the Hydras probably about 2 or 3 times over and invest into something else, like, there we go, Mutalisks.
You need to put an Overseer with those mutas to get these observers that are around the map. That would be really nice. Just completely limit Rain's vision. And they're also going to be able to deal with this Warp Prism finally. Like, even if he wasn't going into mutas, I still think, like, getting 5 mutas would have been worthwhile to catch these Warp Prisms. And, because you really... Like, he was looking on his way to just having this perfect game where you didn't have to worry about anything because he was on, like, 6 bases. Well, now down to the 2, almost 3, as you pointed out. It's looking not that great anymore. It's, it's kind of like evened up, even though he still has like a really big base.
Oh, middle of the map. Rain is going to catch these. There's no observer here, I don't think. Oh, there's for the army. Oh, he's going to kill the swarm host. Really nice storms going down on top of this too. Stalker's blinking forward. He picks off a large portion of this very especially expensive part of the army.
What sucks about transitioning into mutas is that you have to give up whatever army you have now, right? So while you give up this army that'll die very quickly to storms, they might die too quickly. And the mutas, well, they might be able to counterattack, and there might be just a base tree that's going to go on. In fact, I'm kind of feeling it right now.
He's going to have to defend with them first before he can go across the map. But once the numbers are revealed and he sees 13+, I guarantee you, any Pulse Crystal starts up right away. He's already got the fleet beacon down. He's got 3 Stargates to produce Phoenix from. I would be shocked, and it would be just saddening if Rain lost the Mutalist transition.
Yeah.
In fact, he even sees the Spire upgrading, so I mean, he knows there's something coming. He's going to kill the Spire straight up.
thought the observer at the natural saw a couple of mutas leaving. Like, I thought he knew, but he might have moved it, anticipating the swarm host moving out. I don't know, but yeah, he probably is thinking about it now. He has some room to get phoenixes, but where are those mutas? Like, there's 23 of them.
Probably hiding if he was smart. Yeah, sitting up here towards the north.
Yeah, hiding.
I mean, you could argue it might be worth going to kill this base down here to the south, but really, Rain's already gotten everything he needed out of it.
Yeah. I'm feeling the base trade, but with 3 Stargates, a 4th base now, he can afford to go into Phoenixes maybe fast enough. Oh, but if the mutas catch the Stargates, I don't think they will.
Well, there's still no Phoenix protection. He doesn't quite know about this. Still concerning and focusing here on the Hydralisk, so he will clean them up, and that's, good for you, Rain. Yeah. But this isn't what you needed to kill. It's this that you needed to kill. He's going to focus down the Fleet Beacon because he knows he wants to prevent Anion Pulse Crystal. Smart move. But another Fleet Beacon starts up immediately here in the natural base. Oh, this newly established 4th is well going to struggle just a little bit. He does have this cloaking field, though, and there's no detection. So, small chance to take a decent engagement. Hide the Archons in surprise.
This game is just constantly back and forth. Phoenixes are being pumped out 3 at a time, though. I mean, they really doesn't take like, even without Anion Pulse Crystals, there's no Corruptors. And even if they had Corruptors, I think they'd be a good enough job to do it.
I thought that's going to be power, though. Actually.
Well, he gets one of the forges, but not before it finishes.
Yeah, the level 3 weapon upgrades for the Stalkers are going to be quite key in chasing down and catching these Mutalisks before the Phoenix count is up. And you're right, like, you don't need Anion Pulse Crystals, it just makes it even easier, even more overpowered. Yeah. So it's such a good counter to directly have versus the Mutalisks. Meanwhile, Leenock, by the way, he's making more Swarm Hosts. He's also taken away, not taken away, but taken a lot of bases on the map, too. So still extending his grasp over the map.
Yeah. So we're back to that, the kind of what looks to be, if you look at the minimap, an overwhelming position for Leenock, but now Rain has this like perfect composition. He has every tool necessary to kind of try and meet the tech switches. You're never going to be as good as tech switching as a Zerg player, but you can try and meet it at least. That this game is just kind of like, it's even, like both maxed out. Leenock has a bigger bank, but that can be made up, which is a couple of good storms.
Rain actually doesn't know about Leenock's bottom rightmost base either. It's not been scouted. He's seen several Swarm Hosts rallied out from it, but I mean, truth be told, you're probably not thinking about that at this point. Lots of tunnel vision going on for this, that, and the other. Corruptors on the way are kind of interesting. Do you think the Corruptors going to... I mean, there's so many Archons, Void Wraiths, and Stalkers already in play. Not to mention Storms.
We're getting into that composition that we'd usually see if someone had just opened up with Swarm Host, Swarm Host, Corruptor, Viper versus Colossus.
I guess, yeah.
Storm, Mothership. Except this time we do have a couple of Void Rays and those Phoenixes as well.
I do wish we'd see him reinvest in the Warp Prism. It was doing some of the most and best damage this game.
Oh, he does have one, but I don't know where it is. Back at home.
Okay.
He's reading you. He's got you.
Well, we'll see if that comes into effect. Man, the Phoenix count is looking just glorious watching it fly, actually. Hydra's going to clean up the attack here on the right side, and Leenock has been quick to the defense in every location, but his bank has been exhausted at this point, putting down multiple Spine Crawlers.
Oh, run!
Joe's just like, no! The Rapture!
Yeah. I'm really surprised he's to get Burrow. I mean, they're both getting every upgrade that you can, and yet he doesn't have Burrow. Very helpful.
Yeah, it would have been, actually. 2 more Warp Prisms on the way. Oh, I like this. This is like Todd tactics. We haven't actually seen anyone else pull this off, have we? Where you go for like multiple Warp Prisms? I mean, you'd have to hallucinate to make it one step further, but still, 3 Warp Prisms spread out on the map for several different Zealot attacks at the same time is going to be really difficult to deal with. I kind of almost wish we'd see Rain invest in a Dark Shrine as well, just to make those Warp Prisms more powerful, but at the same time, he doesn't exactly have a huge bank, so it kind of makes sense that he's playing a little bit conservatively. Yeah.
Neither player really has a huge bank. At one point, Leenock had 4,000 or 5,000. Now down to just 1,300.
Yeah. These Templar are a little bit exposed, kind of like the Swarm Hosts were earlier. A couple of Stalkers just cleaning up creep on the left side of the map. That's kind of a cool move to make. But he's got to be careful. Feedback's going down on the Overseer? What? Okay. Yeah,
anything that has an energy bar, Rifkin.
I almost feel like the storms on I guess if he's worried about things seeing the Mothership, actually, that makes a little more sense. Feedback the Overseers, there's no detection.
Do that.
Archons, though, hopefully don't get popped off on the front lines. He's going to need these to help deal with the Mutalisks. They're the greatest thing zoning them out, more so than even the Phoenix, I would argue, because they are so good versus the Corruptors. That clump up as well. Looking for some storms, reaching a bit forward here with those Templar. Got to be careful of those positionings. Meanwhile, left side of the map, we do have that warp in from that warp prism, so another base going to go down here for Leenock.
What a delicate dance this is. The Locusts are trying to get the High Templars. The High Templars are trying to get the Vipers, but the Phoenix is coming to action, and there's still not a whole lot of Corruptors. There's 8. That many Phoenixes, and I kind of don't need them anymore. Okay.
Okay, well, it gets out with 4 health. As much good as that does. I don't even know where he recalled it to. A panic. There go the main.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You know what? He needs to actually recall the probes out of this island base, right? Or kill them to the cannons or something.
Yeah. Well, Rain has gotten
prisms.
a big of a bank.
Oh, no.
Nope. Nope.
SOS, we're here, we're alive. We're
Nope.
on the island.
You know that. You put us here. Getting rid of the Blink Stalkers. No need for them.
Well, he was doing some pretty good run-bys with that. Clean up a lot of creep tumors with them, too. Possibly picking off some drones if a gun unresponded to. But, you know, the gold base for Rain now coming into effect. This does kind of trade out with the way this has gone. Another recall for those...
The probes?
No.
I thought they're... Where did that recall from?
I guess it got caught somewhere because it's low on shields again. No, it was low on shields anyways. I don't know. That's weird. I guess wants to really defend this base. Anyways, I was gonna say this is kind of nice though because Leenock had that really that infusion of income earlier on, that sort of adrenaline rush of minerals. So he got that really nice advantage in the early game from it. Now Rain gets it in the late game, and I feel getting it here later on could be a little bit more dangerous. Double stacking warp prisms though. I wonder if you put 2 warp prisms in phase mode and one gets picked off, do the Zealots warping in under that one get canceled, or does it still work because the other one's phase mode?
I think it works like a pylon, so it would still work because the other one's in phase mode.
Okay.
Okay, right. Let's test that out in 2v2.
It's cool Protoss things you never really think about because it never comes into effect.
Oh, the 4 drones. I'm telling you, Burrow.
Oh, I like this. He's gone back into Void Ray production. Void Rays, again, they're just going to be the counter-all if done correctly. Attacks air and ground, they got such crazy damage. Picks off the Vipers with those Phoenix as well. I mean, he can't give away the Phoenix, but get some kills with him.
Yeah, I don't really see pulls all that often on Phoenixes. It was a little weird. More Vipers are on the way. The upgrades are also finishing up. Burrow is on the way, so that's good for his drones. Kind of a stalemate position. They both have these really great armies, and both would probably love to push, but...
Well, actually, I think one of the main differences is Rain didn't really have any upgrades until recently. So all of this time that's been kind of wasted for him, Leenock's been on 3-3 across the board for a long time, whereas Rain's only just now catching up with the air weapon upgrades. So, I mean, it's not so bad that he's playing passive. It's going to make his later game army even stronger. Phoenix. Please. They keep going up here the same spot. They keep meeting the Corruptors in the same way.
Yeah, they don't care about Spore Crawlers, and really they don't care that much about Corruptors. They can run away. It's a big enough map, and there's no Fungals out in the field. So, I guess we got to that point. It's 33 minutes. Where are the Fungals? You're just simply considering that they're not good enough, so why bother investing supply into them? Because supply is pretty big deal right now.
There's still 14 mutas meandering around like this. You might be thinking there's no mutas left so you can give away the Phoenix, but that's not really the situation.
I would rather give away the mutas and get some infestors. I don't know. I
definitely feel the infestors on this one. Not to mention the Void Rays clump really badly, but it'll catch the Templar as well, possibly. If they're busy trying to get feedbacks on the infestors instead of the Vipers, this, that, the other. But realizing, hey, there's some mutas. He's going to perhaps not give these away for free anymore.
The Fungals are also going to give you detection, and in a weird way, if you have everything has energy, then the feedbacks are going to be... Well, they're going to be even more important, but they're also going to, they're going to miss a couple of those key units. Hopefully not the Overseers, but it's kind of getting to that point where it's just like, who is going to win through spending less money?
Oh, hey, look at the worker skill right now, by the way. 13 to 31. Ugh, that's weird.
Yeah, totally. Oh, but seriously, Leenock's winning out in the resources loss department, but
it's kind of, I'd say, the consequence of Rain throwing away like 50 plus. Like, how many Zealots have died this game? 100 Zealots have died this game.
So, That's kind of like, we brought up Todd earlier, and, I'm sure he doesn't appreciate us bringing him up all the time, but he has a very peculiar style where he will just all in almost with War Prisms, as odd as that sounds. And he'll give away like 40,000 minerals in dealing damage, sure, killing hatcheries every now and then, but it's still Zealots versus Swarm Hosts. You're not replenishing the Swarm Hosts, you're only replenishing the hatcheries.
Look, Zombie Grub, I respect Todd, but he's going to Heroes of the Storm, so if he wants to get salty about us referencing him for StarCraft...
You? He still casts WCS.
And I know. Alright, the run-bys actually get, they clear out most of the spine crawlers. It doesn't seem like it's getting a lot done right now, but it's really investing in the future, because Leenock's not replacing these.
That is true, but it does go back to the, Zealots are money, Swarm Hosts aren't. Like, what army is Leenock really replacing? He's not replacing them.
I mean, another thing too is like if Rain had a couple of DTs with this, all of a sudden you swarm and you die for like the one spore crawler. Man, I mean, shout out to this queen, by the way. She keeps that spine crawler alive in the main for so much longer than it should have been.
At 36 minutes, you would expect spore crawlers overseers detecting 4 DTs, but he never went DTs.
He also didn't chase down the War Prism. I feel like that's a small mistake. Abduct goes off on the mothership. It goes down pretty quick. It had like 4 health or whatever to begin with. Didn't really expect that to stay alive.
This is getting dangerous. I mean, he's on creep. He's like a very strong army. And his army is pretty strong too.
8 Templar with Storm.
We'll bring in more Stalkers.
Golden rings.
Stalkers over Zealots very important here. So usually they wouldn't,
Oh, the Abducts. The Abducts are really nice on top of the Colossus, but the damage is unfocused, so they walk away mostly. Half of them get out there alive at least.
Oh, but half isn't good enough for Locust.
Oh, he storms his own void rings. Yeah, he's going for the Locust. A small oversight. Get the Stalkers up on the high ground. Use the terrain to your advantage. I mean, oh my god, don't let the Locust kill you like this. Top left base pretty secure.
He's tried so much harass, and Leenock just keeps expanding. The only thing I could think of is that Rain probably could have gotten away with more expansions himself. He's constantly only been like, expanding one at a time, very much Protoss. I gotta be careful with my expansions. But Leenock's not really been bothering going to the other side of the map, even though he still has mutas. So he probably could have like 3 other bases right now instead of just the one that's new.
It's killing me with these Zealot run-bys. They're just so normally effective, but despite the fact that they are getting admirably good damage done, it's like 1 Dark Templar would make up the difference of half the Zealots lost this game, I feel like. It's just maybe not that far, but still a lot.
I don't know,
nice Stalkers.
It is a case where the DT is, well, okay, the spore crawlers here are enough to deal with it, but maybe the ones in the natural here, never left.
But that's what I mean, like the Zealots are diving through like 9 spine crawlers. You dive for 1 or 4 spore crawlers instead. I mean, well, he still gets both the base kills. Actually, triple base is dead for Leenock right now. This actually completely cuts out his income, but he's sitting on 5k minerals, so it's not that big of a deal.
Exactly. Like, this is what we talk about when we talk about True just expanding behind, like, finally Dark Shrine, thank God. But True expanding behind taking engagements, or rather than taking engagements. If you're not taking engagements, then taking more hatcheries isn't that big of a deal.
I did not think this would go split map, truth be told. But this is actually fantastic, and I love that Rain has completely split this.
Yeah, I thought Leenock for sure was just going to squash Rain, to be honest. The way that he had, like, the concave, and he had this big bank, and he had all this money. I'm more surprised that Rain has gotten here. And maybe there's a point where Rain looked in control, but for the last 10 minutes, it has just been looking like him, like, running into a wall.
Ooh, a couple of observers get picked off. Is that all of his observers on the front lines? Was that a big miscontrol?
Yes, he's remaking them.
Yeah, they're actually completely out of position, so they can't deal with the Swarm Host. Backing away from this is a really smart choice. That's awkward. Storm's coming down awkwardly. Storms, I mean, they're good damage versus the Locust, but of course their friendly fire comes into effect. And abducting one of the Templar into a storm. What?
My god. Like, what is... Rain would have had to have gone into Tempest a long time ago. And even then, it's still not like the counter composition. It's still a hard composition to...
It's not been a necessity for Tempest, though. I mean, you could argue that the range is nice to force engagements, but without Broodlords, there's been no real, I have to make these units.
I don't know. I mean, there's a reason that everyone goes Tempest towards late game Swarm Hosts, that's what I was thinking of. And that, I mean, they do force engagements, and if they don't force engagements, they can at least siege.
Oh, so
where Rain's army does neither. It either forces engagements, or it does, and it loses Colossus and Void Rays, or it just clears up creep. Like, I feel like with Tempests, maybe he can take the base off to the left, or take this base off to the right. It's what everyone wants to go for.
Wait, he invested into Immortals. That's...
Yeah, I saw that on production tab, and I really wondered about it. Maybe hoping that if he loses the Colossus and Void Rays, the ground army might be buff enough.
Fix the Colossus up in the Warp Prism, by the way. It's kind of a cute move. The Stalkers are trying their best to deal with the Mutalisks. These were going to be a real pain, but they do get dealt with. More DTs. There we go. Finally, we got DTs.
Praise Jesus.
These ones aren't going to work too well.
I think they're going to be okay.
There's so
There's
many.
only one Spores. This one's fine.
Sure enough, but the Overseer's here, so I mean, even killing the Spores won't accomplish too much. Cleans up another base from Leenock. Leenock's actually mined quite a bit from these mineral patches. These are Rain's mineral patches, so hypothetical full base mine out scenario, Leenock's going to have had more money than Rain.
These TTs might have just done the trick, man.
I really think, yeah,
it's consistently kill these bases to the left, and he's fine.
Okay, you know what it was?
Why isn't Leenock taking the island base yet?
Because he'd have to research. He'd have to put money into taking that base.
He had so much money at one point.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been cool to see that happen, but man, the DTs.
Oh my god!
They're gonna pick up the Spore Quality. They're gonna get the Greater Spire.
Forget the Greater Spire. Why do you even need it?
Well, actually, he's not focusing on it at all. There we go. Ouch! Ouch! That's gonna sting. I think this is looking like Rain's game. This is looking like this might be my Insanity series. I mean, it's still too early. This could quickly be thrown into a bad engagement, but the Swarmos are all out of position and unburrowed in the middle of the map. What the hell is going on for Leenock to make this happen? Why? Why would they not just be burrowed?
Because he had to move because the creep was getting receded, I guess, but...
Well, the fight is going to get forced. Corruptors, Storms, and Void Rays all engaging. Look at the Corruptors, though. Going to pop it for just one more Storm. No more Storms. So many of these Corruptors barely alive. And Rain loses his entire army. So forget what I said about this looking good for Rain. That Leenock just takes the best engagement this game.
Well, wait a minute. His ground army might just be buff enough. I kind of mentioned it kind of like jokingly, but it might be okay. Just runs away from remaining locusts.
Yeah, that's all. There's 13 Swarm Hosts and 12 Lings, and Leenock doesn't really have the money to remake a huge Hydralisk army.
Just saying.
Yeah, now the Infestor he's so salty. This is actually really fantastic, but Rain doesn't have the capabilities to make a big badass army. 5 more Void Rays are coming out. That's cool and all, but man, oh, I can't believe if like one Archon Blast had gone off, if another Storm had gone down, so many of these Corruptors would be removed from play.
I think the keyest thing in this game was that he finally killed bases, pretty cost effectively with those DTs, and he got 2 of his own bases in the bottom right. Like was desperately missing was more than one healthy mining base for Rain. Now he finally has 2 again.
Yeah, and the Corruptors in the bottom right are really, it's a joke. What are they going to do? Become a Broodlord? Just kidding, he killed the Greater Spire, so they can't do anything.
Wait for Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, start peeing on the buildings. The Swarm Hosts are trying to defend the base, and I mean, it kind of sucks that the Archon's going to be...
Later, Archon.
Yeah, ditched, I guess, but... He kills the last real mining base of Leenock. There's 7 drones left in the map. There's but 3 mineral patches between them. The Spire's actually blocking out mining.
He lost the mutas. He can't deal with these Warp Prism harass.
No, he can't deal with the Zealots either. The Spine Cores are all gone. The last couple drones are going to die. GG! Ladies and gentlemen, Rain defeats Leenock for a second time. This time in a much, much longer game. But also will lock down the 4-3 victory for mYinsanity.